the practicality that is more concentrated on here rather than the theory in IB. So you would often see a lot of project-based qualification exams, like journal writing based on you would be given a certain project and then you would be required to write a journal. IB in particular does not have a very strong background in MCQ pattern. So yes, it was a new learning experience because it was for the first time where I was introduced to the process of exemptions there, and then there from there I learned how to do elimination method. The JEE exams for 2023 was held in two sessions, one in January, which I was not able to attend since I have Feb March exams. Did not shift to CBSE was because 11 12th is a very crucial and a fragile 2 years, I would say. So suddenly making that switch from an IB student to a CBSE would be like a shock.
Hello, Akshat. It's nice to have you chit chat with me. You are an IB student. So, what is this curriculum about? I want a description first, in short.
So in short, the IB curriculum aims to help students in practical understanding of different knowledge and subjects technically. It was mainly the practicality that is more concentrated on here rather than the theory in IB. So you would often see a lot of project-based qualification exams, like journal writing based on you would be given a certain project and then you would be required to write a journal on it and in your 11 12th and then finally submitted in your final exam. So I in particular come from a GCE, AS and A level background, Cambridge. And here we have a more of a hybrid system, you would say. We have both project-based qualifications, which we call CIPQ, and then we have subject-based qualifications, which is a normal written exam, and then combined with practicals and extra credits. In India, particular for GC, AS, and A level candidates, along with the grades, we get PUMs, which are often referred to as percentage uniform marks. These marks help a lot, especially since Indian students need to apply for Indian colleges in form of percentages rather than grades. So I, in particular, was quite worried about grades being used because then those need to be certified by the AIU, which you get a certificate of, and then those grades need to be normalized in order to get your PUMs. As an Indian student who studied in an IB board, I would say that there was a certain advantage when it came to PUMs. So that's where I had a real chance of applying for Indian universities. But for any other foreign university, if you're in an A star grade, then you're very much relaxed and you can easily apply for any Indian university.
So, say you had decided that you would be appearing the IIT JEE exam from
Hmm.
maybe your 11th standard, and accordingly you did the prep. So,
Yep.
was it difficult to, switch from IB to the MCQ pattern which was there for the IIT JEE exams?
So IB in particular does not have a very strong background in MCQ pattern. So yes, it was a new learning experience because it was for the first time where I was introduced to the process of exemptions there, and then from there I learned how to do elimination method. Normally when we come to IP, we are told, or the more apt way to say it is structured in such a way where a student is supposed to find a definite answer to a problem. Here in CBSE, I had to, it was just a change in total thought process from a practical point of view to an extremely theoretical point of view. So here it was more of approximation and getting the answer quickly. Most of the times these questions need to be answered under 1 minute.
Okay.
So yeah, that was more, and of course the calculators.
Okay. So you had forever used calculators right from your childhood for every calculation.
Yep.
So that took a toll on you when you came to the JEE exam.
So my preparation for JEE actually started by preparing for CBSE itself. It started with maths because maths is one of the most important subjects out there. Physics and chemistry was something more or less covered in IB, so there was not much difference in CBSE. Just few theoretical concepts here and there and some rote learning, and you're all set. For maths, it's a totally different approach. like I said, elimination, approximation without using any calculators under 1 minute, shortcuts, tips, lot of formulas. And then on top of that, then you have this whole new approach of solving a question. Like you have two, three different formulas for just solving a question rather than IB where you have a definite formula to solve it.
So, but in the end, it was, though not a huge success, you were successful. And you had to
Hmm.
parallelly manage both your curriculum as well as
Yes.
the CBSE prep. So that
Hmm.
required a lot of hard work, I presume.
Yes, two different boards tend to stretch things out a lot. Especially it came down to exam timings itself. So the JEE exams for 2023 was held in two sessions, one in January, which I was not able to attend since I have Feb March exams. So our cycles are normally Feb March, May, June, and October, November. And such sort of timings really interfere with the competitive exams. So one who is going to go for such exams needs to really look at the timings before they approach it.
Is the curriculum for chemistry way off for G and from IB point of view? Because as far as my understanding goes, right from ninth standard, you start with your electrochemistry concepts, your organic chemistry concepts, which is, not done in CBSE curriculum.
So when it came to the point of view for studying for JEE, I said in ninth, the only difference was that we were covering things further and quicker than compared to a normal CBSE student, from what I've observed. The JEE syllabus, in spite of having an NCRT book, it is more of the depth of the subject itself. So, end of the day, whether you're a CBSE student or a IB student, you have to either case study the portion in big amount of depth in order to understand it and be able to attempt the JEE questions. So it all comes down to practice.
Yes, yes. So, is it your JEE score which has given you a seat in Manipal, or how did you go ahead getting that Manipal admission?
So Manipal has its own private exam. It's called MET, Manipal Entrance Test. Depends on student to student, but Manipal basically engages in medical, engineering, and BBA law, etc. Yeah, so MET exam is first given according to your score, and then so the score is almost instant. After you give your exam, just immediately the score comes, and the rank is generated around 48 hours after that.
That means, you know what, yes, this JEE prep did help you with the MET exam.
Hmm.
Yes. And Manipal, definitely it has a, what do you call it, a good scope of engineering. So you've got CS engineering.
Hmm.
Yes.
Yes.
So does your curriculum provide a lot of depth in CS also? So you could go ahead with this curriculum in a very comfortable way? Your IB curriculum.
Yes, yeah, because Manipal not only caters to Indian students but also international students as a whole. So curriculum is structured in a way which is industry oriented. I
Oh.
believe in today's era, I would say, and moving forward after post COVID pandemic, more concentration has been seen in industry oriented curriculum rather than more theoretical and scientific oriented curriculum, considering that there's a lot of shift and dynamics.
Once again, one very inquisitive question of mine: why IB curriculum and why not CBSE when you're thinking of, giving your JEE exam?
I think even if you are choosing IB or CBSE, doesn't make any difference because end of the day, whatever is remaining needs to be covered on your own. It all comes down to the will and the confidence in the student itself,
Right.
whether they are able to pursue it or because even if you are a CBSE student, at the end of the day, you're studying two different things.
Yeah, that means if you're studying chemistry, it boils down to organic chemistry, electrochemistry,
History,
inorganic
everything.
chemistry, D and F block, the same thing.
Yep.
So chemistry is
Yep.
chemistry by itself with the same fundamentals. Yes, the way of thinking is different
Hmm.
for every exam. For NEET exam also, for instance, the thinking is
Yes.
different. The pattern of question asking may be different, but it boils
Hmm.
down to, yes, knowing those same facts.
Yep.
Yeah. So you don't seem so upset with your IB curriculum, in spite of that, you have cracked the MET exam, which was definitely very good. Congratulations.
I, in particular, did not decide to switch to CBSE for two reasons. One, unfortunately, the COVID pandemic really messed up the admission process for 11, 12. And second reason why I did not shift to CBSE was because 11, 12th is a very crucial and a fragile 2 years, I would say. So suddenly making that switch from an IB student to a CBSE would be like a shock.
Oh,
If someone needs to make that switch, they would prefer doing it in ninth or eighth itself.
oh, that's a big golden piece of advice that you have given. That yeah, if you want, in case you want to shift from 10th to IB, you must be taking a good amount of risk for doing that,
Yes.
because you're already used to a pattern and probably you've got to rethink. Yeah, and
Because end of the day, you have to meet those minimum qualifications.
right, right, and you're stepping out from your comfort zone probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. So do you can you do the reverse, switching from CBSE to IB in 10th standard? Is it advisable for you? What do you feel?
So, from a JEE point of view, I would say don't switch any board. Whatever board you are in, just stay there only. Because end of the day, 11, 12 is not something that should be touched or fiddled around with. All the experimentation should be done before 10th. But yes, if you're certainly going abroad, IB in particular, what type of IB also you go to matters. So I'm a ASA level, and then there's the pure IB boards, which people tend to go if they're very sure they're going abroad. Obviously, it doesn't make much sense. End of the day, applying abroad, you only get a few amount of credits and preferences, but it all boils down to your achievements, your skill, and your confidence.
Thank you, Akshat. Congratulations that you have really fared very well in spite of being an IB student, and you are going for a very good course. May God bless
Thank you.
you and do well in your life. Thank you,
Thank
Akshat.
you.
Thank you so much.